Are you scared about making custard? Well, the first 25 times I made custard, I was nervous too. I'm going to show you how to make custard. Now you can use this custard for pouring on fruit, cake, or use it to make an ice cream base. Today we're going to make an ice cream base. I'm going to demystify custard making. Custard! Now the particular custard that we're making is for ice cream, homemade ice cream. You do need an ice cream maker. You can buy an expensive one or you can buy a cheap one. They work pretty good. The expensive ones are quicker and they make more ice cream. What you need is cream, sugar, eggs, and a vanilla bean. This is a vanilla bean. I'm just going to cut off the end for now. Take the cream, pour it into the saucepan. That's about 1.5 cups or 2 cups of cream. Into that, you're going to put between 1/2 and 3/4 cup of sugar. You are going to heat that up. It's not too hot. You don't want it to boil. And you're going to stir it so that the cream is covering the sugar. And basically, you're going to heat that until the sugar is dissolved. In the meantime, you're going to separate egg yolks from the white. The richer the ice cream, the more egg yolks. French vanilla is custard vanilla. Philadelphia style is without the eggs, so that's the difference. French vanilla is yellower, it's because it has egg yolks in it. To give you an example of difference in amounts of egg yolks, at Christmas time, I use 6 to 8 egg yolks per quart. Regular ice cream, I use 4 egg yolks. Gordon Ramsay's ice cream at his restaurant uses 16 egg yolks per quart. So that tells you a lot. So I've separated I think 5 egg yolks here. And I'm waiting for the sugar to dissolve. This is a vanilla bean, okay? Vanilla beans are very expensive, unless you buy them on Amazon from Spice World and you get something like 120 for the most ridiculous amount of money. Vanilla beans are what vanilla flavoring comes from, not International Flavors and Fragrances, which is where vanillin comes from. The way to open a vanilla bean is to simply cut off the bottom. This is the stem. You're going to slit the bean down the center, but you're going to try to not cut through the back side of the bean. So I'm slitting it down the center, but I'm kind of not cutting the back. And I'm doing it again. Then you're going to peel back those sides like this. So you're going to open it up, and you're going to put the knife on the flat part. And you're going to scrape down, and it's going to open it up like a zipper as you go down. So I'm just pulling down through the bean. See how it's opening? And then all those little tiny vanilla seeds go into your custard. Custard. And I'm going to do it again. And then I'm going to put this bean into the custard. So we're having very vanilla-y flavors happening. We're going to make triple vanilla ice cream, which is the secret ice cream that I make. It has vanilla paste, which you all know and love, which you can get at King Arthur Flour. A little drop of this. And it also has vanilla essence. It's a lot. I'm going to continue stirring this and making sure it doesn't boil. I can still see sugar in the spoon, so it's not ready yet. It's getting quite hot, though. Now you want to get a whisk. I'm just going like this to break up the vanilla, the fresh vanilla. This is now, the sugar is melted. And we're going to do the most important step, which when you read the recipe for the custard, you had no idea what they were talking about. And it's called tempering the eggs. What tempering the eggs means is simply you're going to sort of teach the eggs that warm liquid is coming in so they don't make scrambled eggs, the bane of all custard. You're going to pour a little bit of this warm to hot milk, just a little bit like this, and you're going to stir it. And then you're going to do that again. You're going to stir it. So you're slowly bringing the temperature up. If you just dumped this into the hot milk, it would turn into loose scrambled eggs. Now I'm going to put a little bit more. All right, and a little bit more, and it's ready to combine. So I pick it up, and I combine it. I'm going to whisk together the eggs and the milk. Now it is making custard. You need to keep your eye on it or it will make scrambled eggs on the bottom. Put this back on the stove. Anybody can do this. Don't be afraid. If you have scrambled eggs on the bottom, put it through a sieve. It's not going to kill anybody. But you want to keep stirring this and check the temperature with your finger. It's pretty hot. I'm going to turn down the heat. It should slowly warm. The other tip is use a spoon, an old spoon. If you use one of these slick bamboo things, you won't be able to tell when the custard is ready because the custard will run off the surface. So you want a spoon that has a rough surface that will hold what they call holds a finger mark, which what that means when you read the recipe and you're like, what are they talking about? What they mean is when you draw your finger through it, it doesn't run through that mark. See how it still runs through the line that I made? This is not ready yet. Keep worrying it, moving it. You can use your whisk also. Keep sort of moving the bottom. I'm giving you major science on custard here. And then what's going to happen is you're going to forget about it and you're going to get a little bit of scrambled eggs, but it's okay. For the ice cream, in the meantime, we have put about a cup of cold cream into the container, into which we're going to put the 2 cups or a cup and a half of hot cream into this, okay? And then we're going to let it come to room temperature, but that's not for a little bit. So I'm still moving this. This is close. I can tell because I've made a lot of custard that it's getting a little bit thick when I draw the spoon through it. It's a little bit sluggish when I draw my finger through it. It's holding it much better. It's only a few minutes away now. The other thing we want to do is occasionally feel the bottom. This bottom is ragingly hot, so you can take it off and stir it a little bit. If it boils, you're pretty guaranteed to have some scrambled egg situation. If I continued to whisk and thicken this, it would continue to thicken, and it would turn into something called crème anglaise, which is pourable custard. Very popular in England. They put it on cake and stuff like that. And crème anglaise is just thicker custard. The top line is almost stationary now. We're going to keep going for a few minutes. I try to do these on big holidays. I'll start making the ice creams a few days in advance because there's a measuring cup and this and it's spilled and there's egg yolks, and so it's a little bit messy. So if you're going to make ice cream and you happen to have an ice cream maker, try to make this a little bit in advance of the day. Also, ice cream makers, you still have to, after you churn your ice cream, it has to set up in the fridge for at least 2 hours. Don't forget that. That's holding a mark. It's ready. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the heat. It's continuing to cook. And I'm going to use a pourable jug because it's hard to pour out of that. It makes a big mess. Pyrex, which was invented in the Second World War to make windows that didn't break during the bombings. As I pour it, I'm going to look for solids. That's perfect. I see no solids whatsoever. I want the vanilla bean in there, so I'm just going to pick this up and pour it into the cold cream. I wipe it even though nobody sees it at this stage because I don't like to get it out of the fridge with an ugly streak. This has to come to room temperature. First of all, it's not so safe biologically to put warm things in your fridge, but also it just sets up better. I'm telling you, I've been making ice cream for 10 years and it sets better. There's also a weird thing that happens. Now you can make this in the morning and churn it in the afternoon and freeze it for 2 hours and it'll be great. I swear to God, some weird thing happens. If you leave it in the fridge overnight, it gets twice as thick. I don't know what it is. It's equally cold, so I don't know what it is. Try to leave it overnight if you can before you churn it. I'm going to wait for it to come to room temperature, and then I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. But I didn't want to wait around with that one I just made, so I happen to have one right here that's been chilling overnight. So when you take it out of the fridge, you want to stir it a little bit just to make sure the vanilla is evenly distributed. And if you do have a vanilla bean in there, make sure you fish it out because I've churned ice cream with a vanilla bean and it's a little weird. And then go ahead and put it in your machine and just follow the instructions of your machine and you'll have homemade ice cream. The most key moment of importance with making ice cream is when it goes from the machine into the freezer container. When you start your ice cream, put your freezer container in the freezer so it gets nice and frosty. The transfer of your ice cream from the paddles and from the machine into that thing and into the freezer is the most critical time, because melting at that time causes different kind of ice crystals, and it can ruin your ice cream. So quickly, when you take it out of the machine, get it into the container, smooth the top, clean the sides, and put it in the fridge. Here's our ice cream, ready. It's set up a little bit, so perfect with any dessert you can think of, from banana tatin to just strawberries. This is the bomb. People love it. Homemade ice cream. Get a machine. They run from quite cheap to pretty expensive. You can make your own ice cream. It's a beautiful thing to do. Custard.